Pedagogy. Sample questions. For teacher's exam. Each question will be read only once. The answer for each question will be given after reading it. You may pause the video while answering the questions. 1. In determining whether an assessment item may contain bias, the teacher should first consider which of the following questions. A. Is this item likely to result in a large number of incorrect responses from students in all subgroups? B. Can students' responses to this item be scored on a completely objective basis? C. Is this item likely to offend or penalize students who are members of a particular subgroup? D. Could this item clue students into the correct response for another item on the test? The correct response is C. If an assessment item includes content or context that may be offensive to a particular group, members of that group are likely to become upset or, at the very least, distracted. Emotional upset and distraction interfere with an individual's ability to perform to the best of his or her ability. Additionally, if an assessment item penalizes members of a particular group, those individuals will be unable to accurately respond to the item. For example, if an assessment item about principles of investment uses a scenario such as a stock portfolio, some individuals may be penalized if they do not have the background experience upon which to draw to arrive at a correct response. 2. Students in an elementary classroom are taking a state-mandated standardized achievement test. After the teacher reads the scripted directions and a sample item aloud, a few students appear confused and one student states, "I don't understand this." When administering a standardized test, the teacher may assist students in which of the following ways? A. Repeating the scripted directions exactly. B. Reading several more sample items for clarity. C. Restating the scripted directions using simpler language. D. Reviewing content using the sample item as a model. The correct response is A. For standardized tests to yield fair and equitable results, they must be given under standardized conditions and administered uniformly. It is important that no student or students be given an unfair advantage or disadvantage. Standardized tests generally have a test administration manual that includes oral instructions that must be read verbatim. The goal of this uniformity is to make the test results as objective as possible so they can be considered valid and meaningful. 3. Which of the following criteria must be met for a classroom assessment to be considered unbiased? A. The assessment is used along with other strategies to provide a comprehensive evaluation of student learning. B. The majority of students who take the assessment earn passing scores. C. The context of the assessment reflects knowledge and experiences that are equally familiar to all students. D. The assessment requires students to use higher-order thinking skills. The correct response is C. One type of bias in assessment is unfair penalization. Unfair penalization occurs when it is not the student's ability that leads to poor performance but the student's characteristics or membership in a particular subgroup. For example, if an assessment task is set in the context of football, the context becomes a biasing factor if particular groups of students know less about football than other groups of students. 4. Students in a 5th grade class are about to begin a unit on ecosystems in Minnesota. The class includes several English language learners and a number of students with specific learning needs. The teacher is considering how best to assess the learning of this diverse group of students. Which of the following guidelines would be most appropriate for the teacher to follow regarding assessment in this unit? A. Allowing students to write their own questions or provide similar input into assessments. B. Assigning a culminating project at the end of the unit to be used as the primary measure of students' learning. C. Relying primarily on students' homework and activities completed in class instead of tests. D. Using frequent informal assessments in a variety of formats throughout the unit to measure students' learning. The correct response is D. Using frequent informal assessments helps provide a clearer and more valid picture of student progress and learning. Varying the assessment format gives students opportunities to demonstrate their learning in different ways. To make valid inferences about learning, teachers must allow students to work to their strengths by providing options that allow them to adequately show their knowledge, skill, and understanding. 5. Students in a third grade class demonstrate a wide range of reading abilities. The teacher is considering how best to group students initially for reading instruction. Which of the following strategies would best help the teacher place students in appropriate reading groups? A. Observing which books students choose for independent reading. B. Administering an informal reading inventory to determine students' specific skill needs. C. Using students' past reading performance to form heterogeneous groups. D. Asking small groups of students comprehension questions after reading a book aloud to the class. The correct response is B. An informal reading inventory is designed to provide the teacher with information about a student's relative strengths and needs in reading. Such inventories indicate the amount and kind of support a student is likely to need in key areas of reading and enable the teacher to create groups and plan focused reading instruction for students with similar learning needs. 6. Which of the following scenarios represents the best example of authentic student assessment? A. In language arts, students select a poem from the textbook to illustrate. B. In social studies, students match 5 prominent individuals with the technological inventions each of them created. C. In science, students predict which common objects will be attracted to a magnet. D. In mathematics, students determine how much of each ingredient in a cake recipe would be needed to make 3 cakes. The correct response is D. Authentic assessment is a form of assessment in which students are asked to perform real-world tasks that demonstrate application of essential knowledge and skills. The tasks are designed to resemble the kinds of problems faced by adult citizens, consumers, and professionals. 7. Criterion reference tests are advantageous in the standards-based assessment approach primarily because criterion reference tests are designed to A. Measure how well an individual student has learned a specific body of knowledge and skills. B. Provide a comparison of students' performance within a grade level and school. C. Measure the growth of students in relation to their previous performance in a specific subject area. D. Provide authentic contexts in which students can demonstrate their learning. The correct response is A. Criterion reference tests usually are made to determine whether a student has learned the material taught in a specific grade or course. A recent variation of criterion reference testing is standards-based assessment. A state adopts content standards, or curriculum frameworks, which describe what students should know and be able to do in different subjects at various grade levels. Students are then scored based on how well they know a standard or set of standards. 8. At the beginning of a new social studies unit, a 5th grade teacher has students write a free response on the unit topic in their journals. The information gained through this activity is likely to help the teacher most in A. Identifying effective motivation strategies to use throughout the unit. B. Determining the extent of students' background knowledge about the topic of the unit. C. Deciding the appropriate sequence for lessons within the unit. D. Selecting a format for assessing what students learned about the topic at the conclusion of the unit. The correct response is B. A free response assignment enables students to share whatever they know about a topic. This open-ended approach is likely to provide insight into students' background knowledge that could be overlooked by a more traditional pre-assessment or teacher questioning. Gaining a picture of the full extent of students' knowledge of a topic will enable the teacher to plan and implement more effective instruction related to the designated topic. 9. A 3rd grade class includes students with a wide range of needs. Some students are beginning readers, some have identified disabilities, and others are English language learners. The teacher has a goal of designing instruction that will address these varied needs and help all students progress. The teacher can best begin to achieve this goal by adopting which of the following practices? A. Surveying students at the end of each unit to learn which of the unit activities they found to be most difficult. B. Reviewing the appropriate sections of the teacher edition textbook before planning each unit. C. Seeking feedback and recommendations from relevant specialist teachers on planned lessons at the beginning of each unit. D. Providing a culminating activity for each unit that students can complete in small groups. The correct response is C. A general education teacher can be expected to have a sound understanding of pedagogy and knowledge of content. Specialist teachers, such as special education teachers, library media specialists, and ESL teachers, have expert knowledge of research-based strategies, approaches, and materials that are effective in meeting the needs of specific student populations. Consultation with specialist teachers regarding planned lessons opens a discussion of how to modify instruction to help all students succeed. 10. Students in a second grade class have spent a significant amount of time learning to count money. The teacher has devoted more time than planned to helping students learn this skill and is concerned that their mastery may be somewhat shaky. With this concern in mind, the teacher's best course of action at this point would be to A. Set up a small classroom learning center about money for students to visit when their other work is finished. B. Add 1 or 2 money problems to each mathematics test for the remainder of the year. C. Examine long-range plans to identify points at which to revisit the topic of money and provide students with additional practice. D. Provide individual students with small bags of play money so they can practice on their own. The correct response is C. Students are not always ready to learn a skill or concept, and many do not master content on first exposure. By revisiting skills and concepts at different times, students are able to deepen their knowledge, understanding, and skills. Each successive encounter and opportunity for practice builds on previous learning, helping students internalize key concepts and skills. 11. Which of the following outcomes is the primary goal of differentiated instruction? A. Giving students opportunities to assess their own learning as often as possible. B. Helping students develop the habits of mind essential for lifelong learning. C. Providing individual students with appropriate levels of support and challenge in their learning. D. Ensuring students on task behavior and engagement in productive learning. The correct response is C. Regardless of their individual differences, students are expected to master the same concepts, principles, and skills. Differentiated instruction assumes that there is a diversity of learners in every classroom and that all of those learners can be reached using techniques and materials that are tailored to their individual learning needs. In this way, differentiated instruction provides distinct yet interrelated activities to help ensure that all students come to a similar grasp of a skill or concept. 12. Which of the following statements describes a key characteristic of a well-written instructional objective? A. The objective is linked to a specific student learning standard. B. The unit topic and lesson sequence are noted in the objective. C. The objective's intended outcome is expressed in open-ended terms. D. The materials students will be provided are included in the objective. The correct response is A. In a standards-based educational system, the standards and benchmarks serve as the foundation for measurable objectives. Standards include active verbs specifying discrete skills to include in instructional objectives. When instructional objectives are linked to specific learning standards, teachers are able to determine with greater accuracy a student's progress in meeting the targeted standard. 13. A fifth-grade teacher is planning a science unit. The teacher has identified numerous student activities and learning materials that could be used in the unit, but long-range plans provide only 2 weeks for the unit. In making decisions about which student activities and learning materials to incorporate into the unit, the teacher should begin by considering which of the following questions. A. How complex is the content that the activities and materials will support? B. Can the time frame for the unit be extended in order to include the greatest number of activities and materials? C. What prerequisite knowledge and skills will the activities and materials build upon? D. Which activities and materials will best support students' achievement of the targeted academic standards? The correct response is D. The primary goal of an instructional unit is to help students gain the knowledge and skills related to a particular topic that have been outlined in the state's academic standards. The number of academic standards students are required to achieve within a given school year are numerous enough that teachers generally do not have a lot of flexibility when it comes to the amount of time that can be devoted to any one topic. It is therefore essential that a teacher select activities and materials that will most directly support students in achieving the particular standards the unit addresses. 14. KWL chart, on which students list what they know about a topic, what they want to know about a topic, and what they learn about a topic is most useful for which of the following purposes? A. Providing a framework to guide students in the self-assessment process. B. Helping students access their background knowledge. C. Encouraging students to view learning as relevant and personally meaningful. D. Communicating planned instructional objectives to students. The correct response is B. KWL charts are graphic organizers that help students manage information before, during, and after a unit or lesson. Students begin by brainstorming everything they know about a topic, which is recording in the K column of the chart. It is this part of the process that is particularly useful in helping students access their background knowledge about the topic in question. 15. Students in a third grade class demonstrate a wide range of abilities in mathematics. The teacher wants to tailor instruction as much as possible to the needs of individual students. Which of the following approaches is likely to be most effective in helping the teacher achieve this goal? A. Allotting instructional time in mathematics proportionately, with the most for struggling students, somewhat less for students at grade level, and the least for advanced students. B. Adjusting learning objectives and grading criteria for each mathematics assignment to enable every student to achieve success. C. Creating a peer assistance program in which students with the most advanced mathematics skills are assigned to help other students who are struggling. D. Placing students into flexible instructional groups based on the specific mathematics skills the students need to master. The correct response is D. Flexible instructional grouping is a thoughtful and deliberate match between students and their specific skill needs. Group membership is based on assessment data and is not static, but changes according to students' skill acquisition. Flexible grouping is a practice that maximizes engagement and immediate, corrective feedback and provides opportunities for every student to experience success. 16. A fifth grade teacher has identified 4 activities to use during an introductory lesson for a unit on maps. In an appropriately sequenced lesson, the teacher should use which of the following activities first? A. Having students read the textbook chapter on maps independently and summarize key points in their journals. B. Assigning small groups of students different types of maps to examine and describe for the rest of the class. C. Working with students to develop a standard set of map symbols to apply in map-making assignments. D. Using a state map to lead students in identifying basic features of maps, such as the scale and legend. The correct response is D. A good lesson introduction provides students with a solid foundation for the learning that will take place during the body of the lesson. It is through the introduction that students gain a glimpse of what they will be learning. In a lesson on maps, it is important for students to know and understand the various elements of maps, examples, legend, and compass, in order to interpret and use them accurately. 17. The self-directed learning model is most appropriate for achieving which of the following instructional goals? A. Building mastery of a sequential set of skills. B. Encouraging appreciation for diverse perspectives. C. Promoting active engagement in the learning process. D. Integrating the basic concepts of multiple content areas. The correct response is C. In self-directed learning, students exercise a great deal of independence in setting learning goals and deciding what to learn as well as how to approach the learning task. Self-directed learning provides students with the opportunity to pursue their own interests so that learning becomes more meaningful, and students' responsibilities in self-directed learning activities, such as identifying topics and planning information gathering strategies, require their active involvement. 18. Students in a first grade class are studying geometric shapes and can correctly identify several shapes by name. The teacher decides to engage students in a series of activities about shapes. First, the teacher takes students on a shape walk to locate shapes around the school. Then students glue cutouts of shapes on a large sheet of paper to create pictures of common objects, example a wagon, a house. The teacher also teaches students a song about shapes and reads them books about shapes. Engaging students in these activities best demonstrates the teacher's understanding of how to A. Use multiple approaches to promote students' concept learning. B. Help students connect ideas and concepts in multiple disciplines. C. Select resources that are appropriate for students' age and abilities. D. Build new knowledge on students' current skills and experiences. The correct response is A. In this lesson, the teacher varies the context in which instruction takes place as well as the resources and materials used. The activities address a wide range of learning modalities, thus ensuring that the content is accessible to all students. Engaging students in a group of related activities provides continuous reinforcement of targeted concepts. 19. Role-playing can be used most effectively to achieve which of the following instructional goals? A. Stimulating students' interest in a new topic. B. Enhancing students' ability to recall important content with accuracy. C. Helping students remember the steps of a process. D. Encouraging students to view content from different perspectives. The correct response is D. In role-playing, students act out characters in a predefined situation. Ideally, students should switch roles so that each one has the opportunity to assume another identity. Role-playing helps students explore their feelings and gain insight about their attitudes as well as perceive how others might feel, think, or act. Role-playing provides a non-threatening opportunity for students to try out different identities and develop an appreciation of different perceptions and values. 20. A sixth grade teacher is introducing new content in social studies. Which of the following strategies would best support students' understanding of new content? A. Listing important content-specific vocabulary on the board before beginning the lesson. B. Building a concept web on the board that organizes the main ideas as the teacher discusses them. C. Having students read the relevant textbook chapter at the conclusion of the lesson. D. Asking students a series of follow-up questions to informally evaluate their grasp of the material. The correct response is B. A concept web is a method of diagramming ideas or concepts related to a key subject or topic. A concept web usually uses circles or boxes to record main ideas and connecting lines between the circles or boxes to illustrate relationships between ideas. Linking words or phrases can be added on the connecting lines to describe how concepts are related. Concept webs may also include specific examples of events or objects that help clarify meaning. 21. A direct instruction approach is likely to be most effective for which of the following purposes? A. Prompting students' critical analysis of content. B. Increasing students' level of engagement in learning. C. Introducing new vocabulary and basic content to students. D. Helping students draw connections across disciplines. The correct response is C. Direct instruction is a general term for the explicit teaching of material to students using teacher-centered strategies. Direct instruction has been shown to be particularly effective in promoting students' recall of information that is most useful for teaching the foundational knowledge and basic skills that set the stage for higher-order thinking and deep learning. 22. Which of the following technologies is likely to be most effective in promoting learning for third-grade students during a unit on creating and interpreting maps? A. Primary resources database. B. Video scribing tools. C. Digital World Atlas. D. GeoBrowser software. The correct response is D. GeoBrowsers are alternatively known as virtual globes or Earth browsers. GeoBrowsers provide a bird's-eye view of locations, so instead of only looking at locations on wall maps, teachers and students can interact with geography. GeoBrowsers produce graphic displays that allow users to see and manipulate data in new ways. GeoBrowsers also offer search capabilities and the ability to pan, zoom, rotate, and tilt the view of the Earth, as well as displays of a growing set of layers of data, such as topographical information and population data. 23. 2 second-grade teachers are sharing responsibility for planning and implementing science and social studies instruction for their classes. One teacher has a strong science background and will plan and teach science to both classes. The other teacher has greater knowledge of social studies content and will plan and teach social studies to the classes. This approach can be expected to benefit students primarily by A. Combining the content area expertise of individual teachers to enhance students' learning. B. Modeling the collaborative process for students. C. Providing opportunities for students to make connections between different content areas. D. Familiarizing students with different teaching styles. The correct response is A. Dividing the responsibility for instruction in the manner described enables each teacher to access and utilize an area of strength. When teachers function in an area where they have specific expertise, they are better able to answer student questions, predict common misconceptions, and promote conceptual understanding. This approach helps ensure that students receive the highest quality instruction possible in each of the content areas identified. 24. A first-grade teacher is preparing for the first conferences of the school year. In these conferences, the teacher will provide parents or guardians with an overview of the grade level standards and the teacher's expectations for students' behavior. During the conferences, it is most important and beneficial for the teacher to take which of the following additional steps? A. Providing parents or guardians with handouts of research supporting the teacher's approach to instruction. B. Reminding parents or guardians of their roles and responsibilities in supporting their children's learning at home. C. Ensuring that parents or guardians understand the procedures for scheduling a meeting with the teacher. D. Inviting parents or guardians to share insights that would help the teacher promote their children's development and learning. The correct response is D. Inviting parents or guardians to share insights about their children helps establish a sense of partnership between school and home and conveys respect for parents or guardians as their children's first teachers. This strategy also provides the teacher with unique and valuable information and helps create a foundation for ongoing two-way communication between school and home. 25. Which of the following preconditions is most essential to successful collaboration between elementary school teachers and other professionals in the school? A. Participants in the collaboration have similar backgrounds and educational experiences. B. The collaborative effort has a defined timeline with specified beginning and ending activities. C. Participants in the collaboration have a chance to get to know one another and establish trust. D. The collaborative effort is designed to support a particular pedagogical approach. The correct response is C. One element of effective collaboration is the free exchange of ideas, opinions, and feedback. When teachers and other school professionals understand and respect one another's roles and acknowledge how each role contributes to the functioning of the school, they can begin to establish trust. A foundation of trust promotes the collaborative process by enhancing participants' sense of security and willingness to share ideas and resources. 26. Collaboration between a classroom teacher and special education teacher would be the most appropriate and effective approach for addressing which of the following goals? A. Identifying strategies for enhancing motivation. B. Managing classroom transitions. C. Providing an inclusive learning environment. D. Developing an integrated curriculum. The correct response is C. The concept of inclusion is central in educating students with disabilities and other specific learning needs. An inclusive learning environment accepts and welcomes individuals with diverse abilities and needs. The special education teacher's primary area of expertise is students with disabilities and specific learning needs, their educational and emotional needs, and strategies for adapting classroom instruction and environments to meet those needs. 27. Fifth grade teachers have set a goal of providing students with opportunities to see how their learning is applied in the real world. Which of the following approaches is likely to be most effective for this purpose? A. Establishing partnerships with local businesses to provide guest speakers and field trip experiences for students. B. Implementing an instructional unit designed to teach students basic job skills. C. Creating classroom displays of job descriptions for various positions provided by local employers. D. Arranging for students to participate in several community fundraising activities. The correct response is A. Local businesses employ individuals with diverse skills and areas of expertise. Listening to individuals who work for various types of businesses describe the tasks they perform in their daily work or visiting workplaces where students can see for themselves how basic skills are applied helps demonstrate the relevancy of students' academic work to the world beyond the classroom. 28. The foster parents of a fourth grade student express concerns to the teacher that their child seems to be experiencing anxiety about an upcoming school-wide standardized assessment. They explain to the teacher that it has been a number of years since they have had to deal with school assessments, and wonder if it is normal for their child to be anxious about the assessment. Which of the following statements by the teacher represents the most appropriate initial response to the foster parents' concerns? A. High-stakes tests can cause anxiety in some students. Please know that school staff is aware of this and we implement many strategies and activities to prepare students and build their confidence prior to the test. B. I can provide you with some information about the test and the types of questions that are likely to be on it. It might be helpful when you discuss the test with your child. C. This does sound unusual. Since most students have little or no anxiety about these tests, I'd recommend that we set up an individual session for your child to meet with the school counselor before the test. D. Some children are just more sensitive than others in certain situations. The best thing you can do is continue to reassure your child that the test will not be as stressful as he perceives it will be. The correct response is A. The most important first step in responding to the foster parents' concerns is to simply acknowledge their concerns as valid. Because the foster parents explain that they have little recent experience with school-wide standardized tests, it is important to reassure them that what their child is feeling is not uncommon. In addition, the foster parents are likely to feel reassured and supported by the teacher's explanation that the school recognizes and has plans in place to help alleviate students' anxiety before test day. 29. A kindergarten teacher is collaborating with the school counselor to create and implement a unit to help promote students' self-esteem. This collaboration will be most effective if the initial discussion between the teacher and the school counselor focuses on A. Developing shared goals for the unit in terms of student outcomes. B. Brainstorming a list of potential activities to include in the unit. C. Identifying tools for measuring student progress during the unit. D. Determining the extent and availability of resources for the unit. The correct response is A. Without shared goals, individuals who are working together are cooperating, not collaborating. The foundation of any effective collaboration is a common purpose or shared goals. It is on this foundation that the teacher and the school counselor can develop activities, choose resources, and select assessment tools that are appropriate for the unit they are creating. 30. A new elementary school teacher decides to join a group of other new teachers who meet twice a month to discuss their classroom experiences. Which of the following statements best describes the most important benefit for the new teacher of participating in this group? A. Regular contact with other new teachers provides emotional support and reduces feelings of isolation in a new professional environment. B. Informal forums promote a better exchange of ideas among new teachers than more structured professional activities. C. Teachers who are facing similar challenges are better able to provide professional support than colleagues with different experiences. D. Voluntary participation in activities beyond what is required demonstrates a new teacher's dedication to the profession. The correct response is A. Support for teachers is important because, once they enter the classroom, they often feel lonely and isolated. An informal group of all beginning teachers can be beneficial in providing a forum for scholarly dialogue, collaboratively brainstorming suggestions for issues that arise, and helping teachers form their teacher identity. Such groups provide a comfort zone where they can talk freely and honestly without being judged by others. 31. Observing instruction in a mentor or teacher's classroom is likely to be the most effective method for helping a new teacher learn how to A. Implement specific instructional approaches. B. Increase knowledge in a specific content area. C. Eliminate distractions in the classroom environment. D. Select developmentally appropriate learning materials. The correct response is A. Mentor teachers are uniquely qualified and trained educators with recognized expertise. They possess a wealth of practical knowledge and skills, much of which is not found in books or reference materials. Reading about a particular approach and seeing the approach implemented with actual students in an authentic setting provide the new teacher with entirely different insights. Observation of an expertly taught lesson can help bridge the theoretical to the practical. 32. A new second-grade teacher identifies several activities designed to support the development of students' social skills, but is unsure about whether the activities are appropriate for second graders. Which of the following individuals would be the most appropriate person for the teacher to consult on this issue? A. Curriculum specialist. B. School counselor. C. Assistant principal. D. Special education teacher. The correct response is B. School counselors are professional educators with a mental health perspective who understand and respond to students' varied developmental needs. School counselors' expertise includes the knowledge and skills appropriate for students' developmental levels in areas such as peer relationships, coping strategies, and effective social skills. 33. An elementary school teacher recently attended a workshop to learn how to use interactive whiteboards in instruction. Which of the following actions would best help the teacher internalize the strategies and principles learned in the workshop? A. Browsing manufacturers' websites for suggested uses of the whiteboard. B. Incorporating use of the whiteboard into instruction as soon as possible after the workshop. C. Generating a list of possible instructional contexts in which to use the whiteboard. D. Reviewing the workshop tips on using the whiteboard every day for several weeks. The correct response is B. Two essential components of effective professional development in technology are hands-on use of the technology and curriculum-specific applications. Teachers need to apply new technology in authentic contexts to integrate it effectively into instruction. Applying newly learned technology skills immediately and frequently promotes automaticity in basic techniques and builds teachers' confidence in their ability to use the technology to support student learning. 34. A fourth grade teacher decides to try a new instructional approach during an upcoming mathematics unit on decimals. Which of the following strategies would be most effective in helping the teacher judge the effectiveness of the new approach? A. Comparing students' grades during the unit with the grades of students whose teachers use other instructional methods. B. Systematically collecting and analyzing student performance data throughout the course of the unit. C. Revisiting the topic later in the school year to determine how well students are able to recall unit concepts. D. Periodically asking students to provide their feedback on instructional activities used in the unit. The correct response is B. The collection and analysis of student performance data is a research technique that can provide the teacher with supporting evidence as to whether a particular approach, strategy, or intervention yielded improvement. Data collection and analysis is a key component of the inquiry cycle and helps teachers make informed decisions regarding their instructional practices. 35. An elementary school receives a small grant from a community organization to support teacher development. Teachers decide to use the funds to purchase subscriptions to professional journals for each grade level. In selecting the journals, the teachers should give primary consideration to journals that A. Offer the lowest cost per issue compared with similar educational publications. B. Publish information about upcoming educational conferences in each issue. C. Are sponsored by reputable professional educational organizations. D. Include only articles that have been peer-reviewed by educational professionals. The correct response is D. Peer review is an academic term for quality control. In a peer review, each article published has been closely examined by a panel of reviewers who are experts on the topic of the article. Materials from peer-reviewed publications have been vetted by scholars in the field for quality and importance. By giving the highest consideration to journals that include only peer-reviewed articles, the teachers can be relatively sure that the information in the articles meets the standards of the education profession. 36. The kindergarten philosophy of Friedrich Froebel is based primarily on which of the following ideas? A. Curricula for young children should be designed to revisit basic ideas until children achieve full understanding. B. Instruction and assessments for young children should be based on clearly defined standards. C. Young children's behavior is a reaction to external stimuli and can be changed by altering the learning environment. D. Play is the vehicle that allows young children to construct meaning from their experiences. The correct response is D. Friedrich Froebel's educational philosophy stressed the respect with which the individuality and ability of each child should be treated and emphasized play as a foundation on which the integrated development of the whole person can be built. In 1837, he established the Play and Activity Institute, which he renamed Kindergarten in 1840. Kindergartens embrace structured, activity-based learning and creative play. 37. A sixth grade student refuses to stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance each morning. In this situation, it is most important for the teacher to be aware that the A. Student must leave the classroom during the pledge so as not to infringe on other students' rights. B. Students' refusal to participate is grounds for disciplinary action by the school district. C. Students' refusal to say the pledge is likely to have a negative effect on the classroom learning environment. D. Students' action is protected by the student's constitutional right to free expression. The correct response is D. The 1943 U.S. Supreme Court's ruling in West Virginia State Board of Education versus Barnett established that students in public schools cannot be compelled to say or stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, salute the flag, or sing the national anthem. 38. A classroom teacher is applying for a supervisory position. With regard to this process, it would be considered unethical for the teacher to A. Request recommendation letters only from administrators who have given the teacher a high performance evaluation. B. List on the application a graduate degree that the teacher only partially completed. C. Include in the required essay anecdotes describing interactions with unnamed colleagues in various school contexts. D. Ask a friend outside the school system to review the teacher's application for errors. The correct response is B. The Standards for Professional Conduct in the Code of Ethics for Minnesota Teachers states that a teacher shall not knowingly falsify or misrepresent records or facts relating to the teacher's own qualifications or to other teachers' qualifications. 39. The school choice movement that began in the United States during the late 20th century focuses primarily on achieving which of the following outcomes? A. Responding flexibly to an increasingly mobile population. B. Adopting national curriculum standards. C. Promoting excellence in education through competition. D. Reducing federal funding for education. The correct response is C. At its most basic level, school choice means giving families the right to choose the specific public schools their children attend rather than having them assigned to a school based on place of residence. As a national movement, school choice calls for a major restructuring of the educational system, proposing that government give vouchers or tax credits to families to enroll their children at public or private schools of their choice. This movement is based on the idea that forcing schools to compete for students and resources will increase the quality of education for all students. 40. The progressive education movement promoted by John Dewey focused on which of the following goals? A. Broadening the accessibility of education for children in rural communities. B. Enabling children to reach their full potential and become active participants in a democratic society. C. Providing children with advanced science, mathematics, and world languages education. D. Fostering children's recognition of the importance of the virtues of family and community. The correct response is B. John Dewey is recognized as one of the United States' best-known academics. Dewey articulated a reformulation of education practice based upon the core relationship he believed existed between democratic life and education. Dewey viewed education as a deliberately conducted practice of investigation, problem solving, and personal and community growth that served as the wellspring of democracy. Now, you may recheck your answers from questions 1 to 40. I hope that this was helpful for you in your studies. Very best of luck in your exams. Thank you for watching.